There's no doubt about it, cameras in phones are getting so good now it's increasingly difficult to complain about them. But hey, we all love a good comparison. So, welcome back to Byte Review, and join me today as we throw two smartphone camera titans against each other. This is the iPhone 7 Plus versus the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. Before we get started, it's worth letting you know that both cameras were set to automatic mode with Auto HDR enabled. So let's get started with some HDR shots. This is where the iPhone tends to beat out the Galaxy in most situations. As you can see here, the colour of the leaves has been changed quite drastically by the S7, whereas the iPhone's kept them much truer to life. I know that's harder for you guys to tell, but trust me, I was there when I took the photos. The iPhone also keeps the sky a lot more balanced overall, so the first one goes to the iPhone here. It's much the same story here too. The iPhone has kept the colour of the leaves a lot better than the S7 and the sky has been exposed correctly, so that's another one for the iPhone. The next photo shows off a bit more of a clear difference between the two phones. The Samsung has come in with some classic colour crushing, making it a more contrasty and punchy shot, whereas the iPhone has kept things a little more true to life. Now this is where things start turning to personal preference. They've both done a good job at exposing everything in the scene well, and the iPhone might have just taken the edge of the sky, but it's actually the Samsung that pulls better detail out overall. If you take a look at the green plants towards the bottom of the shot, there is mushiness from the iPhone, whereas the Samsung has used some sharpening to define them more. Personally, I really like both shots here, but I think I'll give the edge to the Samsung for its larger than life colour and that bit of extra detail. Talking about larger than life, this photo shows off Samsung's prowess with bursting colours and contrast. It might be a total exaggeration on how the colours actually were, but I really like the effect here. The iPhone is much more true to life of course, but it just looks a little flat in comparison. Zooming in shows that the S7 has kept way more detail too. Check out the spots on the leaves which are almost absent in the iPhone photo. And for me, that's an easy win for the S7. Initially I preferred the Samsung's photo here as well, but take a closer look at the chocolate raisins on the left side. The iPhone has done a much better job at keeping their colours accurate and separate, and there's a big difference between the two. Samsung has added a lot of warmth to the shot, which results in a worse image overall. The iPhone certainly comes out on top for this one. Interestingly, in this shot I much prefer the punchy colours from the Samsung. The added contrast can really work well for some shots, and in this one it definitely works to its advantage. It's not to say the iPhone is a bad photo, but I just love the added colour punch from the S7 here. Zooming in shows a better detail from Samsung too, so it's an easy win here. While the added colour from the S7 is sometimes awesome, it's not always great. This photo shows a good example of how it can overdo it. I remember taking these photos and the iPhone is way closer to the original colour. The S7 has crushed the blacks, making the wooden texture harder to make out. This leaf is another example of the S7 punching up the colour too much, giving the green almost a yellowish look, while the iPhone keeps the colour way more controlled. There's still more detail in the Samsung shot, but the colours are so far off that the iPhone wins out these two rounds. Here's one last example of the Samsung beating out the iPhone thanks to the punched up colours. The pencils in this photo jump out on the S7 photo, while the iPhone actually looks a little dull in comparison. It's more accurate, sure, but it's more dull. There's also less noise in the S7 photo. Take a look at the top left in this crop. So let's move on to more detail-based photos. And the first thing you'll notice in this one is the colour difference between the two. The Samsung leans towards the warmer side, while the iPhone keeps things quite a lot darker. Zooming in shows the bigger difference is actually in detail and sharpness, and it looks like the S7 gets the edge on the iPhone here. Another shot of the close-up first shows a similar effect, with the S7 enhancing the warmness and the iPhone staying more accurate to the actual colour. While the iPhone is closer to the real colour, I find the detail way more important in a close-up like this, which gives the S7 another win. Moving into lower light now, and well, the differences in this photo are quite extreme. The iPhone is way closer to how the actual room looked, and the Samsung has aggressively brightened the room, blowing out the TV screens and adding an incandescent glow to the whole photo. Looking closer you can see there's a bit more noise in the iPhone, with the S7 again pulling more detail out of the shot, but overall the iPhone comes out way on top for me here, as it was a way more accurate photo. Now that's not to say the S7 can't perform well in low light, because it really can. This image shows a brighter and sharper result from the S7, just take a look at that Philips logo, while the iPhone displays a lot more noise and mushiness in the lower lit areas. And to top it off, in a super low light shot, it reveals that the added brightness from the Samsung can actually result in a usable and relatively clean photo, whereas the iPhone produces a very mushy, muddy, noisy mess. So let's wrap up. I think both of these cameras are fantastic, but for different reasons. The Samsung has a lot more detail for sure, and its super low light performance is slightly better, but the punched up colours may rely more on your personal preference. On the iPhone side, HDR photos are handled a lot better, and the colours are way more accurate. So really, these cameras come down to personal preference overall, and that's a great place to be in right now for smartphone cameras. I hope this has given you guys a better idea of how each camera performs and helps you come to your own conclusion about which one you prefer. Thanks for watching this video and stay tuned for more. I will see you in the next one.